is not blowing quite fast. So currently the temperature is around -6 degrees to -7 degrees, but for the northerners it's not a quite lower temperature, and we actually call this bay as a cotton bay from the local people. And we are somewhere near the port, and we can see all of these ships which are here are not being seen quite usually in our day-to-day life. It's China Coastal Guard. Some of the prodding ships from the China Coastal Guard. These are some of the small-sized ships with a quick speed, and if we shift our eyes to the other side of the port, the size of the ship is increased. And these are the ships belongs to the China Fishery Department. So here we see all kinds of the ships which are related to the board security and also the Coast Guard. And this is actually the biggest ship in this boat, and we call this Xiang Yang Hong 52. Let me explain this name to you. So you can see the Xiang Yang Hong, sun facing red, which brings us to around 40 years ago. We still remember at the 1960s and 1970s, during the 20 years, our country has produced a series of the books or the scientific explorers, and the name is a quite remarkable milestones, witnessing all kinds of development in our scientific marine explorations from the 1960s up to now, and also including the SOA and Navy at the time. Their applications about the Xiang Yang Hong series is being widely covered, and sometimes they even change the number. And today we are going to sail on Xiang Yang Hong 52. You can see the ship body is quite new, but it's actually a ship with a quite good historic record. It was built in the 1957, and at the very beginning it was called Xiang Yang Hong 08. And during the 1980s and 1970s, this kind of ship is making a lot of contributions to the sea exploration work in China. Last year, we renovated the ship, and currently you can see that the Xiang Yang Hong 00 is being changed to Xiang Yang Hong 52, and we can feel that this is actually closely related. And we can see that we are dialoguing with the ship 45 years ago. And today we are going to follow this ship and follow the experts coming from the Bureaus of Natural Resources to go through a journey of the week toward the Bohai Sea, about the sea ice. And what is a sea ice? I think the southern Chinese don't understand it. Sea ice is a natural disaster during the winter period in the northern part of China. In Dalian, the total they are actually at a high latitude, and the close sea area, especially from the coastal areas, when the river is flooding into the sea, it will generate some of the sea ice, and the ice is going to expand it to the sea from the riverside at its maximum. Around half of the area alongside the Liaodong Bay is going to be covered by the sea ice. This is generating a lot of harm to the fishery industry, local ecological environment, and also local people's day-to-day life. That's the reason why we think that the sea ice is a quite special natural disaster. in our country, and especially in Liaodong Bay. And that's the reason why we are going to have a monitor explorations to the China Coastal Guard 1411 to better monitor the growth and expense of the sea ice and estimate the harm it is going to generate. Let me give you a brief introduction of the boat. It's around 17 meters long. The total volume is around 1,400 tons. This is not a huge ship. We think it's around a middle-sized ship. But in the year 2018, around September, we renovated the ship and it started the scientific work once again. That's the reason why we think the ship is quite new. Later on, around 10:30, we are going to start it from this port and started our monitoring expedition this time. That's the reason we are seeing that so many equipment are being facilitated on the ship, and so many experts and sailors is being prepared for the work. We are encountering some of the weightlifting work, which is the reason why we see a lot of the weight lift here. Later on, we are going to be boarded to the ship. There are all kinds of equipment, radar, wind speed, testers, and also all kinds of equipment. And in Xiang Yang Hong 52, there's also a sign of the SOA. We all know that during the reform, SOA is actually one bureau under the Natural Resources Ministry of Natural Resources. So this is actually a ship belonging the Ministry of Natural Resources. Let's go into the sea, go into the ship and have a side tour. Today is a quite good day, and the wind speed is not very quick. And after sailing, the wind speed at the sea is going to become around level 6 to level 7. And the local weather forecast bureau is predicting and alarming about the natural disasters. So I think when we left Dalian, we are going to be tested about our general abilities, and we see that a lot of sailors here is preparing for the later on voyage. Let's board. Let's board. All the equipment of the ship is fully prepared. These are the experts waiting for the work. And here we are boarded on the dock. This is actually the leader and director of the team, Mr. Song. Hi. I see you are preparing for the voyage, right? Yes. According to the annual report and annual plan we developed, we are going to check all the equipment list of the equipment for the detections of the sea ice. Then we are going to start the sea ice monitoring work later. This is the researcher, Mr. Yuan. These are some of the tools for the sea ice monitoring and marine. Can you give us a brief background information introduction? Thank you. Let me give you a brief introduction. Every year in winter, ship monitoring about the sea ice is something quite important, because if we sail the ship into the sea ice, we are going to have a quite direct feedback about the sea ice, the size of the sea ice, and all the data we get is quite reliable. And we are going to monitor the temperature about the seawater. We are also going to measure the size of the ice, thickness of the ice. Later on, I'm going to introduce my colleague to you about the tools we are going to use. We are going to use this special basket, which is being made by nylon, and we actually sampled through this special basket. By gathering all the seawater here, we tested about the seawater's temperature. This is the temperature meter. Later on, we can read about the number. Currently, the winter, of course, is around 1.8 degrees centigrade. So from this meter, you will see that it's around 1.8 degrees centigrade. Because later on, because for the meter, sometimes it will make some of the fracks with the ice and generating extra temperature. That's the reason we added up one protection layer on top of the meter. And the total temperature testing process is around 1 to 2 minutes. It's just like testing a human body temperature. It needs to be lasted for 1 to 2 minutes. This equipment is about the weather testing equipment. It's going to help us to test about the wind speed, temperature, and sailing speed. This is something very important as a parameter for the weather and for the size of the sea ice. And if you hold this up for 1 to 2 minutes, when the speed is being stabilized, you can read about the number on top of that. You can see that this is actually a testing about for the middle part, it's actually testing the speed of the wind, while the upper area is helping us to test about the direction of the wind. Currently, the wind speed is around at 0.6 to 0.7 meters per second. That's the reason why I think that sea ice is shrinking. I know that ice is related to the cold wave and also the temperature. We heard that there's another cold wave before the Spring Festival. Is this cold wave going to generate a larger existence of the sea ice? It's possible. Sometimes, in the historic record, in the year 1969, in Bohai Bay, during the February to March, sometimes overnight, the sea ice size increased because of the cold wave. But generally, the sea ice is only covered about the end of the February, the end of the January to the very beginnings of the February. And I know that Dalian, no matter how high the temperature is right now, but it's at least the period that we should strictly monitoring about the sea ice. Today is quite unique because the temperature is warmer. It also poses a lot of challenge for us to research about the sea ice because there are so many different scientific facts needs to be explored about the sea ice and the shrinking of the sea ice. This is more important information for us who are researching about the sea ice. These are posing some of the critical information for us who are doing the scientific research about the Bohai Bay. Let me give you an example. If the sea ice don't change, it don't vary year by year, it's difficult for us to monitor and compare the historic data. So for these kind of changes in the data, it's providing us more data and more things to be prepared. Because all the researchers and experts here need to be prepared for the voyage and let us be boarded. Let's look at the different part of the ship. From this equipment, we can actually see that this is a brand new ship. All the ropes has been renewed. And we need some of the human powers to operate about this rape in the past, but currently all of it is going to be done by the equipment. So here, there are two different lines. Two different cables. Here is another one. Xiang Yang Hong 52 weighs around 1,400 tons. And among all the scientific explorer ship, is a relatively middle-sized monitoring ship. It has some of the ability of the icebreaker. That's the reason why it's undertaking this times sea ice monitoring exploration. It can monitor the sea ice, survey about the sea ice, and check about the temperatures about the sea ice, and these are quite important works. The floating area, the floating margins on the sea front can be also repaired through this ship. Let's go to the backside of the ship. It's a rare opportunity to board such a ship. Everything on the board, although it's iron and steel, looks quite good, but this is a rare opportunity for us to get inside of the ship. Let's go to the backside of the ship.
这边我们看到的就是一个生活区啊，包括船长室啊，还有船员们休息的他们的房间。
These are the living area for the sailors and for the captain. The equipment is for the sailors and for the living area is quite good. And later
我
on,
们
we are
上
going
了
to
甲板之后往后
the
走，
sailor's room
来到
after we boarded.
这个区域，
And for this area,
我们要上到这个船的这个驾驶室去看一下哈。上船的时候
we are
看，
going
大
to
家可以注意一下啊
went。into the
首先，这样的这个铁的这种楼梯
training
啊，
room
它
for the
比较窄
sailor.
但是上面都有防
The
滑。
staircase
上船的时候
is
是扶
also
两边的把手。
anti-skid.
现在我们就来到了这个驾驶室附近的这个平台上。
Right now, we are
一会儿可
somewhere
以请
near
船长给我们
the
介绍上，介
controlling
绍一下
room.
上面都是什么样的
And we are going to
一些
ask
装
the
置。
captain to introduce us all the
来，我们看看
equipment
怎么来开门
here
吧。
and their
这个都是
functions.
看，我们的摄像师可以给近一点，听听这个声音啊，这都是厚厚的铁门。
This is 100% pure iron and
往
steel,
里走，
quite heavy. Let's enter inside.
看刚刚进来又要开一道门，而且你注意啊，这个门其实都是往外拉的。
Two gate.
这道进行到一个小小的一个生活区，这是我们这一次同船将要出行的
This
咱
is
们海洋
actually
报的
the
同行。您
living
好，您好。
area.
这是
for
您
the
的在船上的这
journalist.
个房间了，是吧？对啊，这个房间感觉怎么
It's
样？
your
感觉温
room
度
on the ship, right? How do you feel about the ship? How do you feel about your room? I think it's a little bit
我们可以看到，很暖和的。这回海洋报咱们这个登船之后
shrinking. It's a little bit ups and downs from my side. So what kind of data are you going to collect? What kind of record are you going to write? So in the past few days, I have been tracking about the water temperature and I collected all the scientific data, which is good, which is to prepare my future days photographer and also it's around 5 square meters size.
有一个小小的洗手池，然后这边
Apart from the beds, there's a quite small
应该说麻雀虽小，五脏俱全，而且还有电视。听说这个
washing
照顾我们也照顾挺好，你看什么饮用水呀，咱们的
equipment, and they prepared us all of the waters and all the other equipment.
让船翻新之后，
Although the room is quite small, but I think it's fully equipped with all the modern equipment. Thank you very much.
咱们越来越接近。
Sorry for disturbing your work.
这是一个
Okay, the controlling room of the
现
ship,
在就来到了驾驶室。
a brand new word.
这边我们看到驾驶室里边它的这个主色调，除了旁边的白色整个的操作台以及地板
Apart from the white color,
海洋的颜色。
all the other colors at the controlling room is blue.
船长，
This is our captain.
能给我们，因为我们很多网友在收看我们直播的时候，对于首先对
Because many
这个
viewers, when they
像
are
我们的这个海洋的监测
looking at the live stream,
就更少。
they don't have the experience to step into the controlling room of a ship. Can you introduce us?
电子海图
This is a screen of the sea map,
可以显示
and on top of the sea map, it's actually showing all the details about the sea. And during the sailing,
那么我们是以它为参考，
we are going to draw the lines during our wake, and then
是按照
follow the lines, follow the journey we have
一
planned.
个参考，那么方便我们这个航行。
This is only providing a reference during the sailing.
我们看这边有一些这个经纬度这样的一些参数
These are some of the parameters, the latitude and latitude.
我们现在停在嘛，
This is where we are right now,
现在的位置。那么我们航行起来的时候，
39 degrees to the north and 121 degrees east.
航向
And here is also showing us the sailing speed, sailing direction,
对，跟电路径连在一起。
Compress
是当时的这个航向。那么你像我们现在是350，现在这个不是这个没动的话，它就是。
Currently, without moving it, it's being stopped at the bay, and during the sailing, this number is going to change with the movement of the sea. And currently, we are at the Cotton Bay,
对，这是
somewhere
这个码头就是
near the Liaodong Peninsula.
码头。那么
For
我们
this
现在
port,
停靠的就是
it is called the Mianhua Island port. And here is where we located.
这边这是雷达吗？
Is this radar? Yes. Radar is the eyes of the sea. Every time we are in the open water, the vision of the human body is being blocked. And sometimes we are basically 100% we are relying on the feedback information of the radar. When the weather is bad, the radar is going to show us all kinds of movements. The radar is actually the eyes for the Xiang Yang Hong 52. And later on, when we started in the ice area, what kind of attention should we pay for? Especially in the sea ice area. I think that for the Chinese sea area, sometimes it's not going to be fully displayed here. But when we are at the northern polar, the iceberg is going to be shown here, but the reflection ratios for the iceberg is quite low. Sometimes the radar cannot fully capture the information from the reflection. The floating banner is fixed, relevantly speaking, and when we are around 10 nautical miles from the floating banners, we are going to be alarmed. For example, for this point, it's our floating banner, and we are going to sail targeting these floating banners. This is something also very interesting to the viewers, right? And it will enable us to clearly find some of the targets. A telescope, which can give us a 50 times size of the view. I think not so much of us has been to the navigation room and listened to the captain's explorations about navigation equipment. So here, you used to sit here, right? Sit here, right? Although the chair is here, but actually during the sailing, we are not allowed to sit on the chair. We only sit on the chair when we are a little bit tired, but during the sailing, apart from the sailor and apart from the captain, no single person should be sitting on the chair. There are many different details on the ship, and you can see that all the chairs is being fixed on the ground. This is going to avoid the shake during the voyage. And all kinds of the handles like this. And even in the kitchen, there are this kind of handles. During the sailings, the ship is going to encounter a lot of wind and waves. No matter the human body or the other equipment, and we set up a lot of handles here to make sure that we are going to grab it quite strictly. This kind of firefighting equipment is also being fixed on the ship. Sometimes we cannot imagine these details. And please introduce us more details about the sailings. So how do you control and monitor the ship during the sailing? What is this? This is actually the screen about the sailing speed. And when the equipment is being launched, all the parameters is being demonstrated on here about the rotating speed and other equipment. It will give us a clearer view of where we are about the ship.
我们可以看一下这边，这个应该是整个驾驶台的一个。
Let's look at here.
船长，这个开船的话
This is actually the middle, in the middle of the controlling room.
就是这么一个小小的。
Can I get in touch of that?
方向盘一样。
对。
Are you going to drive this ship like what I am doing right now? Yes.
那种方向盘，它可以用来。
This is what we call
这个船进行转向的时候，就是靠它来。
the wheel.
说开车的时候，有的时候说是。
So we are using this wheel to
摆动的话，其实船的方向都。
fully control the directions of the ship, right? I think a ship like our size is very sensitive to different directions. So when the ship is turning over, we should be quite careful about different directions. You should listen to the driver's or the captain's idea for the ship to turn around the directions. Can I have a hand-on experience? Can I hand on it? Before we operate it, we have to open this machine. It will give you different information about the direction. If I'm turning left, you can see the arrow here. Come back to 0. I feel that compared with the wheel on the car, the wheel of the ship is larger. I think it's actually a liquidated pressure equipment. It's easier and lighter to operate. Here, through the screen, we can see all the operations on the board. Especially we are monitored every single corners of the ship. Especially for the close end area or room to protect the whole ship crews from any coming events. What is the major controlling equipment? This is what where we are about the major captain equipment. Let us zoom out. And during the driver's room, in the driver's room, we can see the personnel's their dynamic movement. Is it working automatically? Yes. All the information is going to be gathered here at the monitoring room. Sometimes they are working at the emergency controlling room to monitor all the equipment. So here is another radar, yes. At least we need to equip it with 2 radars. This is a radar for the X wave. That was a radar for the Y wave. Under different circumstances, we are going to adopt different waves to better show us the targets. Through the explanations of the captain, it's very rare for us to get these cases. How do we drive a ship? Let's go to the dock. Can you show us to the dock?
这个我看到，好，我看到这边是一些咱们的这个。
这个是个 C 站，C 站就是当我们在。
This is where we call the C station. During the sailing, the data and all the signals can be gathered here. Later on, we are going to transfer the data and signals to the center, and we are going to send the information from here. It's something like the telegraph. All the preparational work is being listed here. Later on, when we started the sailing, the mobile signal is going to be winked. And relying on this system is going to better send all the informations and data.
这个就刚才您说的那个纸质的海图了，是吧？
That's what you call a paper-made sea map, right? We have this paper-made sea map for every single piece of the sea. And based on the information provided by the SOA, we are going to change and make some of the readjustment about the sea map to generating a quite standard sea map to see what kind of changes we are going to is going to be changed in the sea. In the past, we see a lot of this sea map, especially in the movies and the TV series. So when we are drawing about the sea map, we are adopting this kind of tool to better draw a line of the sea. The sailing journey, the sailing plot first. Then we sail through our plans. So here, we actually point out the turning point in the sailing. And when the ship is reaching this position, it's going to change its directions. Why it's going to change its directions? Because when it's continuing this journey, it might encounter some of the disasters or uncontrollable conditions. That's the reason why we are changing the sailing trajectories of the ship. For Xiang Yang Hong 52, it can be 5.2 meter deep, and if the sea's depth is lesser than 5.2 meter, the bottom of the ship might get in touch with the sea bottom, generating a lot of harm and disaster. So in this special area, I think that we have marked down a lot of the floating banners here. And when the ship is reaching this area, it might encounter some of the difficulties. The ship has to go through the wide area in the sea map.
也是可能平常很少能够接触，但是在电影里边听说过航海日志。
对，这个航海日志，是每天都要记录的。
This is the sailing journal. We have to record it every day. Deck log book. About our working condition. From this deck log, we are going to record everything happening on the sea. Is it going to be recorded by the captain? Every single driver, during every shift, they should record about the deck log. And every night, the captain is going to read through it and sign on it. Can we go on in this part?
应该说是，一艘船在航行的时候，最核心的位置呢，也是船的大脑。
I think the driving part is the core part.
甲板上，这个一般咱们说船，
We are now on the
我们的
deck.
船是分成几层的甲板？
我们这个船现在就是分4层甲板。
4层甲板。
对，实际上这个最上面这一个也算是一个甲板，它叫螺钉甲板。虽然说它上面
This is what we call a deck. Although there's no people living inside, there are some of the equipment. The most important one is about electronic direction testing equipment. When all the powers is running out, we have the compass, and we always have the plan B. So we always have the two equipment. When there's some the extra disaster happened, we are going to check about this. So here, if we are standing higher, these are some of the equipments which are being built, and that was a shipyard. We see all kinds of ship are building up here. This is a quite large ship, right? It's actually an engineering ship, a dredger.
们在这个位置看到现在海面上好像
And
相对
from
来说
this
还算是风
direction,
平浪静，但是今天
seems like
出去以后，
on the sea there is no wind.
按照今天我们北海分局的预报，今天晚上20时
According to the predictions of the Bohai Bureau,
对辽东
from
湾
the
渤海
20
应该有一定的东北风，6到7级的东北风。
from the 8 p.m.
除了跟
to
风跟
today
浪这
to
个
8 p.m.
其实
tomorrow,
在要适
the
合
wind
迎接他们
speed
的
in
船的
the
时候，
Bohai
要请大家
area is
船
going to be
咱
reached
们这
level
个
2.
船，特别在监测海冰的时候，在冰区航行的时候，
So
会
during
不
the
会带来
monitoring of sea ice,
是的，
especially by sailing through the sea ice,
如果说
is it going to
像我们
generate
的
a
船
lot
只
of
会相对
harm?
来讲比较浅。
Yes,
如果说是
because
进入
our
入
ship
冰
is
区的话，
relatively
就会那个浮冰就会引起把这个
shallow shape.
堵塞。
And when we are entered into the thick seawater area,
不带有循环
it's going to
靠这个海水来循环冷却的。
对，
it's not going to facilitate our monitoring.
它就需要冷却，冷却的时候，那么就是用这个海水进行
And
自然的
sometimes we need the
冷却。
cooling process
如
of
果
the
说是在
seawater.
冰区航行，那么就会
If
浮冰
it's
就
been
会把
sailing
这个
through
海
the
面
ice
海
area,
底门一个小
all the
海
ice is going
直接跟
to
海水来
cover
对，
the
可以
sea
直接把这个海水
surface,
从外界冲上来，
block
冲
the
上来，那么有浮
directions
冰的话，
of the ship.
就会把这个所谓的浮冰
Sometimes the
给
sea
堵塞
ice
堵塞之后，那么
is going to block
会温度不大
the
适合
ship.
那么这样的话就会发生危险。
The temperature is going
机
to
器
lower
是整
down,
个船的心脏是
dangerous
吧？它会
events is going to
对，
happen,
这个主机实际上就是对一个船来
and
讲就是
the
一个心脏。
engines for the ship is going
除
to
了
be
这个
blocked.
说，造成比如说海底门的这个堵塞
Apart from this,
没有办法进行
the
正常的这
blockage
个冷却
in the
之外
sea
那像我们
bottom,
这个船体这个抵御冰的
what kind of other hazards is
据我
going
们
to
这个船来讲，
create
这个抵御冰的能力
for our ship?
不算是很强，因为我们没有什么抗冰的能
The
力。
ice breaking capacity is not that
所
strong
以说，
because
如
we
果
don't
说是误入
have
冰区，
the
那么可能会造成这个船体
ice level.
对船体可能会有所伤害。
So if we are actually entered into the ice area, it's going to
但相对
create
来
a
说
lot
的
of
话
harm.，
对于
But
我
for
们
the
这样的
Liaodong Bay,
船来说的话，它是
for
一个正
areas
常的
like
一个
this,
这个强度
is it
硬
normal
度是吧？那但是如果我
to
们专业
enter
的提
this?
到一些破冰船的话，
But
其实
if
那
we
个
mentioned
甲板
about the
这个概念
professional
完全不在
icebreaker,
对，
their dock is much larger than
它是
our
有
ship,
这个
right?
浮冰加强
For
的
the icebreaker,
这个船头
it's
它的靠
been
板会加厚，
equipped
端位
with all the
那个船的端位相应也
equipment
大，
with extra
对，它会依靠这个主机
blocks
跟它本身
adding
的这个
up
动力去
at
把
the
这个浮冰
front
给它
of
压
the
碎
ship,
然后就所谓的破
and
冰。
they are going to use the gravity to crash on the ice. Let's go on site.
这都是一些设备。
对，这个都是一些这个我们驾驶室那些设备的一些接收或者发射的一些这个天线吧。
这个是灯吗？
这个是一个扫海灯。
扫海灯，我过去看看，像探照灯似的，我们说。
对，实际上就是探照灯。这个尤其是夜间，当我们就是在一个比较不太熟悉的这个海域航行，或者说是为了引起对方一些船的这个重视的时候，那么我们就会把这个扫海灯打开它，然后就是
We are going to open up this light,
照射过去，那么
and it's just like providing. We are going to open up this light and creating a strong beam to attract other parties' attention, other ships' attention. Can we go to the front area?
对，这是强光搜索灯。
那它的操作是需要人来操作呢，还是直接可以在驾驶室里？
Do we need the humans or sailors to operate about this light? We can do it in the controlling room. We have a special area controlling this sea light beam.
就是无论上下左右都可以进行调整。
咱们这个船整体的这个长度达到多少？
我们船长是
What is the total length of the ship?
船宽10米。
It's around 74 meters.
正常情况下，咱们像船员的话会有多少人？
我们这个
With a width of 10 meters,
19个人。
how much sailor is working on this ship?
是一个客户，
19 people.
那么
But
会有一些
It's a scientific
在船上。
explorer. Sometimes the experts is also going to stay on the ship.
所以说我们这个人数总是8人。
8人。
对。
一个就跟相当于是一个满载的一个编制。
对，满载编制58。对，因为就是我们每到一个
The total capacity for the ship is 58 sailors.
然后就是由这个扶兵队员去这个把这个扶兵就是在那边海区把这个海水打上来。
When we encounter the sea ice, we are going to send some of the experts, send some of the special crew to fetch the sea ice back.
实际上我们是从那个丹东那
We
边
come from the Liaodong Bay.
从丹东一直到大连，然后再绕过这个
From Dandong to Dalian,
然后到营湖，
across the Liaodong Bay
然后再围着这个山东
to Qinhuang Dao. And then we sail across the Shandong area, Shandong Peninsula. For this long journey, it's going to be around 10 days. We always hear about one keyword about this
对，
ship
这个我们船吧，
sustainability.
这个自持
So
率
for our
如果
ship,
说是以12节的巡航
the
速度的话，
sustainability,
我们可以
if we are sailing at 12 knot,
呃
we can sail through over 4,000
对
nautical mile for 40 days.
对
For
对，
one
我
part,
们
it needs
在的
the
时候就是把这个
consumption
燃油
fuels. For the other part, we are also going to need the sailors and all kinds of the food and catering equipment. What is this?
这个是原来是一个在海那个是一个这个执法监视器，对，因为我们
It used to be a monitoring equipment
就是在
because for our ship,
我们还要做一些这个
during its work,
对
we are also want to do some of the monitoring, legal monitoring work.
我们看，其实这个因为我们
It's
是
actually a
电
camera.
视的哈，其实它你看它除
But
了
because
这种
we are the cameramans and we are
这个平面上
apart from the 360 degree, and it can also
有陀螺仪一个稳定
creating
一个平衡。
another direction, and it's also going to catch a quite balanced position to acquire the evidence through the camera.
我们
What is this?
刚才介绍那个 C 站，C 站就是它的天线。
This is what we call sea station, the alternate.
对，这个信号就是
This is the alternates for the equipment, and we actually collecting the signals.
上面这两个旋转的是我们雷达的天线，这个雷达光束，
These are the alternates,
然后传输出去。
which is being created through the radar.
所以我们看到，其实这个最顶层的这个甲板上啊，都是一些船在行驶当中一些重要的设备都会安装在这个位置。
These are some of the equipment
站的现在
which
这个
are
位置
being
比较高
collected
可以
at
看
the
到
top.
今天海面上
We are actually standing and sitting on the top,
金灿灿的。一会儿呢，可能我们就要出海，所以说
looking at the Golden Sea,
刚才
reflecting
船长
the
也向我们介绍了整个呀，今天应该
sunshine
说
from
这个
the
风力有可能出去之后
reflecting
会
the
达到
shine
6到
from
7
the
级。
sun.
好，我们现在下
Today the wind speed is going to be reach level 6 to level 7. Let's look at the back side of the ship.
有一个吊机，
At the back side of the ship,
我们在做浮标作业的时候会用到它。
when we started the floating operation, we are also going to use it.
从哪边下去呢？从这边，这边。这个真的，因为这个楼梯啊显得比较窄，所以最好要侧着身下。而且你看，在甲板上这样的这个垃圾桶一定要注意环保，所以垃圾桶也给它一个固定，包括盖子，这样可以提起来一点啊。咱们这个
The trash
船上的
can
垃圾
in
也是
the
要进行分类的。
boat is also
对，
being
垃圾
placed
是
in
必
here.
须要进
Do
行
we
分类
need
的。
to
你
separate
看这
the
个红色
different
的是这
trash?
个塑料垃圾，塑
And
料
the
垃圾
ship,
是严禁入
of
海的，
course,
这
the
是按照
red
规
one
定。
is the
你看这种
plastic
这种
trash.
绿色
It's
的是我们
forbidden
厨
for the
房的
plastic
垃圾
trash to
我
enter
们
into
这
the
个厨
sea.
房
But for the
排水
green
产生
ones,
的垃
it's
圾，
actually
那
the
么在平常的时候我们就要装在这里
kitchen
面，等靠近码头之后由码头进行统一的回收。对。
and
一些
all
我
the
们看
trash
到
is going to be
纺织品，
recycled
还有
at the
这
dock.
个纸张、一些尘土。
So here they are reflecting this trash can is collecting the textiles and other materials. So here is actually the life jacket. When the accident happened, the life jacket, the life-saving equipment is going to be automatically open, and we can throw it on the sea, and it's going to be exploded, and then we will jump inside. Now, for another part, when the equipment with the life-saving equipment is under certain water pressure, it will pump out. For our ship, how much life-saving equipment do we have? We have 8 units. And for one single unit, it will going to save around 25 people. So we are fully equipped. And the life-saving equipment is also going to facilitate some of the simple foods and water. Under emergency, sometimes the sailors did not bring the fresh water with them, so we actually store some of the fresh water in the life-saving equipment. So here there are 4 life-saving equipment. At the other side, there's another 4 life-saving equipment. Is this a room or this is actually an operation room for our ship because we are working on the boils. When we are attaching the boils, the driver, the captain, can look into the boils directly and make some of the improvement. It's actually better for us to monitor here. It's another controlling room here. At the end of the equipment, we can operate here. So all the operation equipment is just like the controlling room downstairs. Some of the boils, because of its floating positions, it's easier for us to recognize and more direct to operate. And when the people is sitting here, they can look into the left side and right side. They also enjoy a better view from this controlling room. At the end of the ship, they also have another sitting room, better for the controlling of the equipment, especially for the change of the ship body. I think when you are not, I think it's only when we arrive on the ship we can understand that there are 2 controlling rooms. This operation center is much easier than the previous ones, but there are still other equipment, facilities. From this controlling room, if we look from outside, it has a higher view, and this controlling room can operate it here. Today is a quite eye-opening event.
这边我们就看到刚才我们在船下的时候看到的这个
From this side,
也就是相当于是一个吊车啊，起重机。这个一会儿我们来请教一下船长。
This is actually a weightlifting
船长，我们
equipment.
基本上现在也都是。
Let's ask the captain later
我们在
on.
下边的时候就看。
We are at the back side of the ship. What kind of function about this weightlifting? When the boil is being allocated or break down, we need to use this truck to lift it to our ship. I think the largest boil should be 3 tons. Should be weighted around 3 tons. Apart from this weightlifting equipment, are there any other equipment at the back of the ship.
这个是个锚机，现在我们看护照。
So here is actually a monitoring equipment.
对，是我们拖的。
If you want to throwing the buoy into the sea,
我们需要用这锚机把这个
we need to use this equipment
浮标上面的
to
锚链
batter
拖到我们这个甲板上面来，然后进行固定。
to drag
然后
all the buoys from the sea to our dock.
那边有一个快速释放器，我们需要把这个
And here we have a fast releaser of the buoy.
浮标就可以在那个位置就可以固定下来。
相对一个很固定的，同时也要求一个精准的一个。
This is a quite fixed position.
看到啊，这个从这个船头，我们一直走到后甲板上，走到船尾的这个位置。
From the
船长带我们非常
very beginning of the sea, from the beginning of the
一些这个
ship
一些设备，
to
确
the
确实实感觉到。
backside of the ship, our captain has toured us around the ship. Today, before our voyage,
非常近距离
it's really an honor to be on the Xiang Yang Hong 52 and have a side view of the Xiang Yang Hong 52. This ship, all of the life of this ship is about the scientific exploration in China. Last year, the whole ship has been renovated, and it's bringing the scientific explorers of the ship back to life to let it fully play its role. And I think our ship is going to start it at 10:30. So our captain is going to be back at the controlling room. Our captain is going to prepare for the voyage later on. I hope that this journey, these times of the sea ice monitoring, is going to be carried out quite successfully and smoothly. The wind speed is going to increase when the ship is going to sailing on the sea, and the wave is going to be high. Although in the port, it's quite peace. But here you can look at these are some of the floating sea ice. Although they are only small pieces, these are the small-sized sea ice. This is just a quite small portion of the sea ice we are going to monitor, and this sea ice is going to floating on the sea surface, covering over thousands of areas, thousands of kilometers of the areas. We hope this voyage and journey quite successful, and we also hope that in the Xiang Yang Hong 52, on this ship, all the crew members and for all of our team, we are going to have a better understanding of the captain's life, of the crew members' life, and how did they carry on their scientific experiment. Dear viewers, today I'm with you from the Xiang Yang Hong 52. This is the end of our report. Thank you very much.